Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to our YouTube channel and welcome to this video. This is John from xemacscode, and in this particular video we're going to be talking about the Java syntax or the basic syntax used in Java programming. Now in this video we have this particular example, public class main, and this is used to display a simple string to our display, which is hello world. Okay, and we have named our file, which is main.java, and every line of code that runs in Java must be inside a particular class. So in this particular example, all the lines here, it should be inside our main class. So in our example, we name our class as main. Okay, and then a class should always start with an uppercase first letter. So that's the standard when it comes to naming a class in Java. So you have to make sure that the first letter of your class is uppercase. Okay, and you have to take note also that Java is case sensitive, meaning if you have like class name as my class, you also have to refer to this particular class by using this exact letter casing. So the first letter is uppercase, and then the first letter of the second word is also uppercase. So all throughout your program, you have to refer to this particular class with this class name, the same letter casing all throughout. Now, the name of the Java file must match the class name. So in our example, again, we are naming our class name as main, and it should also match the file name of our Java file. So in this case, we're naming it as main, so the file should also be main with the correct letter casing, or the first letter of the main is uppercase. So to run the example, or to run this particular example program, all we have to do is save this and then go to our command prompt where we can compile our program and run our program. So basically what we can do to compile our program is we have to make sure that we are on the correct directory. So this particular file is saved Java programs from my documents, as you can see here, documents and then Java programs directory, and then there you can find the main.java file. So all you have to do is change directory to documents, and then change directory to Java programs. So we have to make sure that we incorporate double quotes. So Java programs, and there we can find the file uh, main.java here, main.java. Now, what we can do to compile this, we have to use, let's resize first the font of our command prompt so that we can see better our script or what we're trying to do here. So all we have to do is compile our main.java file. So type in java c and then main.java, and then it's going to take a few seconds, or yeah, few seconds to compile our program, especially if you have like thousands of lines of code inside your file. But in our case, we just have like um, nine nine lines of code, where the other lines contains empty spaces or something. So it's fast because we just have nine. We only have 9 lines. So after that, of course, the compiling, it will generate a main.class file, as you can see here. So this main.class is generated from our source, which is the main.java. Now after that, we could run our program by using the keyword java and then main. So there you go. We have the output hello world, which is what we are trying to um, do or trying to display, the hello world keyword or string. Now, as you can notice here, we have the main method. So the main method is required, and you will see it in every Java program. So even if your program contains a lot of files, a lot of classes, you will see that there's like a certain file that contains a main method. So any code inside the main method will be executed, of course. So for example, in this particular class, we have the main method, and of course we have this statement. So the statement system.out.println will be executed by our compiler or by Java. Again, any code inside the main method will be executed, and you don't have to understand the keywords before and after the main for now. You will get to know them bit by bit while uh, trying to follow this tutorial. And for now, just remember that every program has a class name which must match the file name, and that every program must contain the main method. And of course, in this particular class, we have the main method here, which execute the system.out.println statement, which will try to print the hello world string right here. Now, before we dive deeper with Java, we have to understand first the concept of comments. So comments can be used to explain Java code and to make it more readable. And it can also be used to prevent execution when testing alternative code. So again, this will make sense later on, but for now, just understand that the comment is just to explain the Java code, and we can add a comment by using the forward slash, two forward slashes, just like this. So this signifies comment. So any text between the end of the line is ignored by Java and it will not be executed. So for example, this particular line will not be be executed by Java, so it will be ignored. So this example uses a single line comment before a or after the system.out.println. So we could also add another line here, for example, system.out.println, and we can say here another line. So again, we could add comment before or after any statement, and actually, let's try to fix this first. We could also add it after the line itself. So after the semicolon, we can add a line. So we could explain what's the purpose of this particular line. So we could say here to display hello world, and we can also use it like this, um, comment, single line comment on its dedicated line for this particular comment. Now, we also have the Java multi-line comments, and multi-comments start with slash or forward slash and then asterisk, and then followed by the closing um, uh, comment tag, which is asterisk and then forward slash. Now, this is called multi-line comment because we can make it like this. Okay, so this is a multi-line comment, and again it will be ignored by Java. So it doesn't matter how many lines your multi-line comment has, so it will be ignored or it will not be executed by the Java. So it is very important to know these concepts, because later on, if you have like thousands of lines of codes, you have to document what's the purpose of a particular line, so that later on when you revisit your program, you will understand uh, what you did before, and it will be clear what is the purpose of every line inside your program. Okay, so moving on, let's try to discuss the concept of Java variables. Let's try to add a single comment or single line comment. Java variables. Okay, so in Java, variables are containers for storing data values. And in Java, there are different types of variables. For example, we have type of variable. We could have like string. We could have int. We could have float. We could have char or char, and then we could have Boolean. Um, the string stores text such as hello world. So you have to specify the double quotes, just like what we did here. We try to display hello world because that's the string. So string values are surrounded by double quotes. You have to remember that. And again, we have int. The purpose of this type is to stores integer or whole numbers, so without decimals. Okay, so examples will be 123 or 3, yeah, or negative 1, 2, 3. So just a whole number. And then we have the float. So the purpose of float, of course, is to store floating point numbers, okay, with decimals, such as 19.99, 19.90, yeah, 99, or negative 18.55 or 45. We also have for the char or character or car, whatever you want to call it. So car or char stores single characters or single character, such as A or big letter B, and it should be surrounded by single quote. You have to make sure that the string is surrounded by double quotes and the car or char is surrounded by single quotes. And then the last one will be Boolean. For this particular example, there are a lot of types that we can use, but for this uh, discussion, this will be the last one, Boolean. So it stores values with two states. It could either be true or false. Okay, and now that we have the concept of this particular Java variable data types, it is now time for us to discuss how to declare or to create variables in uh, Java. Again, the purpose of variable or variables containers, it is just a container for storing values. Think of it as a basket, and then you have different um, basket for each values that you want to track inside your Java program. So in order for us to declare or create variable, you have to specify the type and then the variable name equals the value. Okay, this is how you can declare and initialize a particular variable. You have to specify the type, the variable name, and of course the value, and then right after that is the semicolon, which signifies that this is the end of this particular line. So where the type is one of Java's types, such as it could be int, it could be float, it could be character or char, it could be Boolean or string. And a variable is the name of the variable, such as we could name it like, for example, the type is int, and then the variable name is age. And then, of course, if for example, we will assign a value to it, um, like 19 years old, and then the semicolon at the end of this particular line, which again signifies that this is the end of this particular statement or line. So we have here the type, which is int, and then we have here the age, which is the variable or the variable name, and then we initialize it into 19, which is the initial value of our variable age. Okay, so um, we could try to output the value of our age by using the system.out.println statement, and of course we could try to um, specify here the variable, which is age. Okay, so again, the variable serves as the container for storing values. Okay, so this will be the container that will hold the value 19. Okay, so again, we could try to compile our program by using the command prompt. And by the way, guys, you can use the built-in or what do you call this? The terminal that is being integrated to the VS Code. You can also type in the Java compile here if you would like that. So Java C and then the main.java file. So and then of course the Java keyword, and then the name of our class will be main, and then press enter. So we have here um, we haven't saved our file yet. So we have to save this. So every time you have changes to your file or your class, your source code, you have to make sure that you save that, and then try to debug your program. So Java cmain.java. Okay. So after compiling, you have to type in Java keyword and then the main class. And then as you can see here, we have the hello world, the another line, string, and then the 19. That will be the output if we try to run our program also here. So main, Java main. So hello world, another line, and 19. So we just we just use the integrated terminal that is built with inside the VS Code editor. So you can use any editor that you want. You can use the notepad if you'd like. But in our example, in our video tutorial series, we're going to be using the VS Code because it has the color, uh, what do you call this? Color for every keyword or for every syntax that we type here. It is going to be colored by the VS Code, so we won't have problems with uh, uh, identifying which line or what is the type of this particular line. So for example, this one, the variable name, it is colored uh, white. The type is colored something like green. This one yellow green. The string is yellow. So there's a color coded for your source. So that will help us to have a better understanding of our source code. Now we have another uh, example. For example, we could also save a particular name. String name equals John Doe and then semicolon. So we could try to display this system.out.println, and then we could say welcome, and then we could um, concatenate our name to this particular string welcome. So we can use name here. And then after that, we could add the semicolon and then save our file, go back to our command prompt, and then compile our program by using the javac command and then main.java file. This is the file name of our Java source. And then after that, after compiling, you can type in Java main, and then of course it will execute all the statements inside our main method. So we have here hello world, another line, welcome John Doe. So this is coming from the name variable, and we have 19 here coming from the age variable. Okay, so you could also make it like this string and then first name, we could say Jane, and then the last name equals Doe. Okay, so we have first name Jane and then the last name is Doe, and then we have full name equals the first name, and then we will try to concatenate it by using the plus symbol and another space string, and then plus symbol and then the last name and then semicolon. And of course we could use that variable system.out.println, and then of course the full name variable. There you go. And then you can save this and go back to our command prompt and then javac main.java. Okay, and then try to output or try to run the program by using Java main. So hello world, another line, welcome John Doe 19, and this is the last variable that we are using. So Jane Doe, and again this is coming from the full name variable. Okay, and actually you can also use the like for example the float. So you could try to do float um, pi equals, I think the value of pi is 3.1416. Okay, so it could hold the value of our pi. We could try to display the value of pi right here by specifying the pi variable. So save and then go back to our command prompt, compile, and incompatible types, possibly lossy conversion from double to float. So we're just going to, actually there's one type also which is double. I could try to use that instead of uh, using the float. Okay, so we could compile that and try to run our program. So we have here the value 3.1416. Okay, so that's how the variable works. This is the variable will help us when it comes to holding values, and if we want to try to display that value or try to use that value all throughout our program, we will just have to use the variable. Um, Let me show you an example so that you will understand the basics or the importance of using variable. So for example, we have a story. So let's try to create a story here. Once upon a time, there there was, or I don't know the correct grammar for this. There was a boy named uh, Ab Abby. Let's name our boy Abby. And then, so for example, we have a short or long story, and then we have to use this particular name all throughout our program, like 1,000 lines. So, and at some point of our uh, the lifetime of the program, we need to change any instance of this particular name. So that will be uh, we will need change every instance of this particular name like this. So if we want to change this to like Eddie, so we need to change each of this particular line to Eddie. And imagine if you have like millions of lines for this particular name, or for this particular story that mentioned this particular name. So every time we change the name, we need to change also the statement 1 million times or 1,000 times, depends on the number of lines that the story has or the program has. So that's where the importance of using the the variable. So we could just specify the full name, for example, here, or just the name. Instead of using it like that, we can concatenate the name. And of course, every time we change the name above, so all instances of this name will be changed also. So if we try to display this for now, compile our program and then run. So once upon a time, named John Doe. So if we try to change it into Eddie, Eddie Doe, so all the instances of this particular line will be uh, changed without uh, without changing it one by one, but by just changing the value of our name right here, or name variable right here. So that's the importance of using variables. And this is true for other programming, um, what they call this, programming languages. So now we are done with the variables. Let's try to discuss also the data types, data types in Java. So actually we already have discussed like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 5 data types in Java, but we will try to dive deeper into that by discussing also the other data types. So in Java, we have primitive data types. So primitive data types are a type that specifies the size and type of variable values, and it has no additional methods. So primitive data type specifies the size and type of variable values. So we have, let's add a multi-line comment right here. So there we go, multi-line comments. So we have the primitive data types. Number one will be byte, and the size of this is one byte. And for the description, it stores whole numbers from 1 or negative 128 up to positive 127. So if you wanna store whole numbers from negative 128 to 127, so the byte is the preferred data type. Second one is short, so that the size is 2 bytes, or the amount of memory. And then the description for this, it stores whole numbers from negative 32,768 to 32,767. Okay, and then we have the int, and then the size of int is 4 bytes, and then it stores whole numbers from 2 million, it's 2,147,483,648 up to 2 billion, or positive 2,147,483, I mean 147 million, and then 483,000, and then 647. And then we also have long. So long, the size is 8 bytes and stores whole numbers from, I'm just going to copy and paste this so that it will not take time. So I don't know how to write, how to read this, but as you can see, it's a very big number, positive, I don't know, 922333720368547758007. So if you wanna use this particular um, variable type or data type, if you have a number that could, you know, could reach this particular value, then you might want to use the long data type. We also have float. We already have discussed this, but the float stores fraction numbers. So again, it is sufficient for storing 6 to 7 decimal digits. Okay, we also have double. the size is 8. We also have Boolean. We also have car or char. So char or car is 2 bytes. The Boolean is 1 bit because it just contains true or false, or in other words, 1 or 0. Double, 8 bytes, and then sufficient. This is for fraction numbers also. Um, for storing 15 decimal digits. Okay, and the character or char stores single character or letter or ASCII values. Okay, so that's the 8 primitive data types available in Java. So we have byte, short, um, int, long, float, double, boolean, and char or car. Okay, so there are also instances that we want to convert or typecast a certain type into another uh, data type. So we could also do that by using um, automatic casting, or there's also manual casting. So in other words, for example, we have um, int n1 or number 1 equals 9. So that's whole number. And then we want to typecast that or convert that into a double. So double, uh, my double equals um, specify the n1, and then we can try to print this or display this, my double, and let's try to see what's the result. So save, and then here compile, and then run the program. So we're getting, or we have a display of 9.0, which is a double value. Now we also have manual casting. So this is automatic casting or typecasting. So this is for int to double. We could also have a double to int like this. My double variable equals 9.88, and then semicolon. And then if we want to convert this into int or whole number, we just specify the uh, type int, and then the variable name equals, and then we have to specify the int, and then my double variable. There you go. So we added the open and close parentheses and then the type that we want to get from this double variable. So whatever the value of this, my double variable, it will be converted into int no matter what. So that's how typecasting works. So let's try this, save, and then Java compile, and then Java main. So we're getting an empty result right here. I don't know what's happening, but that's how the let's try to my double variable. Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. It should display 9, yeah, 9. Typecasting. Manual casting. Yeah, we did not include a display, so we have to display the myInt variable to get the desired result. So compile and then run. So there you go, we are getting 9 as the value, but the original value is 9.88. And then after typecasting or converting it to int, we are getting the value 9. Okay, so next up is the operators. We can remove this lines. So this will be operators. So operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. So we could add two values or add two variables. So for example, we have int x. So we have a variable named x, and then the type is int equal to 100 plus 50, and then semicolon. So what we're trying to do here is just adding the value 100 plus 50, and then the result should be saved or stored into the variable x. So we can display this. So save and then compile and then run. So we're now getting 150 out of this operation. So basically we're just adding two numbers here, 100 and 50. So there are also other arithmetic operators. So this is just for addition. Okay, addition. So we have the addition. We also have subtraction like this. We also have multiplication by using the asterisk. We also have uh, division. We also have modulo. We also have um, increment, and we also have decrement. So these are the arithmetic operators available for us in Java. So for example, we have here int n1 equals, for example, 25, and then int n2 equals, for example, 5. So we could try to get the total or sum of the two numbers by using int sum equals n1 plus n2. If we want to get the difference, then we're gonna use n1 minus n2. For product, you could use int product equals n1 multiplied by n2. We also have um, quotient equals n1 divided by n2. Okay, we also have modulo equals, modulo is for just the remainder, getting the remainder of the two variables or two values. So modulo equals n1 percent sign and then n2, and then we have increment. We have like n1 plus plus. This is post increment. So meaning we are assigning the value of n1 first to increment before adding the value 1 into n1. But we also have, if you want, you can also have pre-increment, which is plus plus n1. There you go. We also have decrement n1 minus minus. Okay, this is post decrement, meaning we already assigned the value of n1 into the variable DEC or DEC, yeah, before subtracting 1 in from n1. But you could do also a post, I mean pre-increment, pre-decrement minus minus n1. Okay, so we could try to um, output the result of these values. So for example, sum equals sum, and then difference plus difference variable. We also have product, which is for the product variable, and then quotient for the quotient variable, meaning the result of the division. So we could also have the modulo, modulo, modulus, yeah, and then specify the mod variable name. Okay, now we could try to run this, and then yeah, after compiling, run. So the sum of two numbers 25 and 5 is 30. The difference is 25 minus 5 is 20. Product, there you go. 25 times 5 will be 125, and the quotient 25 divided by 5 is 5, and modulo 25 modulo 5 is 0. The remainder will be 0. Okay, so that's how the operator or operators work in Java programming language. So this particular one, we have the equal. So the equal is for uh, what do you call this? Assignment operator, meaning we're just assigning value to n1. So assign 25 to n1. So that's how the assignment operator works. And actually we can do addition assignment operator. So for example, we want to add um, sum equals sum plus equals 5. So this is addition assignment operator, meaning we're just assigning or adding a value of 5 to the sum variable. Okay, and of course you can do it also for I mean decreasing the value, dividing, multiplication, just like this, division, modulo, and other operators available that we have discussed here. Okay, and we also have the logical operators or comparison operators. Comparison operators. So we have, let's add a multi-line comment right here. We have equal equal. So we're just testing if the two values or two variable is equal to each other, or it could be also be not equal, or it could also be greater than. less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. So the purpose of this comparison operators are just to test the relationship between a value or a variable to another variable. So for example, we have variable a and b. So we just want to test it by using this. So if a is it equal to b? Another one is a is not equal to b, and a greater than b, is a less than b, is a greater than or equal to b, is a less than or equal to b. Again, this particular comparison operators just to test the relationship, or yeah, relationship between two variables or values. It could also be, for example, values. A is equal to 3, or I mean equal to 3. Is a less than 5 or something? You can also do that. Is 10 greater than b? You could do that also. Or you could try to check if 9 is less than or equal to 10. Okay? Now, all of these operators or comparison operators will result to Boolean value. It could be true or false. All of the comparison operators will evaluate to true or false. Okay? And I think that's um, for the comparison operators and operators in general. As a sort of review, we have the arithmetic operators: plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulo, increment, and decrement. So obviously, the first four is for the basic arithmetic operation, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And the modulo is for getting the remainder, and the other two is for increment or decrement. So the increment could be post or pre-increment. The same thing with the decrement, it could be post or pre-decrement. So that's how the operators works in uh, Java. Now, if you have questions regarding this topic, you can always ask questions down below in the comment section. We will try to answer your question if you have concern, and I'd be happy to help you um, if you have like confusion regarding our topic, especially for the operators. But this is the basic concept in Java, especially in operators. Okay, and the next topic will be strings. So when we say string, it is just used for storing text. So strings used for storing text. Okay, and a string variable contains a collection of characters surrounded by double quotes. So for the sake of example, we will try to um, declare and initialize a string variable. So we have here the type string, and then uh, the variable name. So for example, greeting equals hello, and then semicolon at the end of this particular line. Now, there are methods, or there's a lot of methods that we can use when we're trying to deal with string. One of it is length. So say for example, you want to get the length of a particular string, just like here we have the string greeting. What we can do is try to get the length by using the length keyword or method. So the length of of let's th length of the text is plus greeting dot, and then we're gonna use the method length and open and close parenthesis. So what we are doing here is just getting the length of the greeting variable, or I mean the greeting um, value, which is in this case we're trying to assign it to hello string or hello group of characters. So what we can do here is save our file and then compile and then run our program. So the length of the text is 5, so that's because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the hello text is composed of 5 characters. We also have another method or other methods such as let's try to copy and paste this. If we want to uppercase this, we can do so by using the method to uppercase, open and close parenthesis. The same thing for lowercase. Lowercase, we can do so to lower case, meaning we're just trying to change the text casing of our hello world. And what we can do here is try to compile our program and run. So as you can see here, the uppercase for our text is hello with all the letters converted into uppercase. And then we also have lowercase, and obviously the text from or every character of the text hello is converted into lowercase. And we can also, there are also other methods that we can use. We can use if we are dealing with string. So say for example you want to locate or you want to find a certain character or a certain word inside a paragraph, you can do that. So for example, string txt equals, just for the sake of example, please locate where locate occurs. Okay, so what we can do is try to display txt dot index of, and then we can specify the text that, or the what they call this, the character or the word that we're trying to locate. So for example, locate, and then let's try to run our program. So compile and then run. So it resulted to 7. So which means that the index where the locate keyword is located is 7. Okay. What else? We also have Booleans. Okay. So if you try to do Booleans, you can use the Boolean type, and For example, Boolean is Java fun, so true. So we can try to display this. So is Java fine, and then compile our program, and then there you go. So it resulted to true. There you go. You could also assign value which is false. Tasty equals false. Then try to output our value. Okay, and then just compile a program and then run. So we're getting the false value of the variable is fish tasty or not. So we could also use the relationship or the comparison operators. So Boolean is true. So for example, um, is 3 less than 5? So we can try to output the value of that by using the variable is true and save our program, go back to our compiler and then run. So true, that's because 3 is less than 5, but if we want to if we try to place 5 here, or I mean 6, we will be getting different result. That's because it's false now. That's because 6 is not less than 5, so it resulted to false. So again, the purpose of the relationship or the comparison operator is just to test the relationship between two values or two variables, and in most cases, and it will result to either true or false. Okay, so that's how the relationship or comparison operator works. Okay, now let's go to the next topic, which is conditions. Java conditions and if statements. So in Java, it supports the usual logical conditions from mathematics. So we have less than, right? A, or is it A less than B? Less than or equal to A less than or equal to B. We could also have the greater than or equal to, or the one that we are the one that we gave of as an example earlier is the equal to also, which is A is it equal to B, and then not equal, so A less than, I mean exclamation point and then equals B. So this means that we're just trying to check if A is not equal to B. Now you can use these conditions to perform different actions or different decisions. And Java has the following conditional statements. We have if, we have else if, um, else, else if, and we also have switch. So the purpose of conditional or conditions and if statements is just to try to decide or to try to perform different actions for different result of the condition. Now, for the if statement, we have this particular syntax. So if keyword and then the condition, and then open and close curly braces. There you go. Now, condition could be the relationship between two variables. So, for example, 3 less than 5. So if this is true, then we're going to execute the statement inside here, inside of the curly braces, if the condition inside the if statement is true. So for example, system that out the print line, and we can say here 3 is less than 5. Okay, so save and then compile and then run our program. So we're getting the result 3 is less than 5. If we change the 3 into 6, then we're not gonna see the same result. So as you can see, there's no output. So this particular statement is ignored when the evaluation of this particular condition is false. Okay, so again, if this particular condition returns true, for example 3 is less than 5, then the statement inside these curly braces will be executed. In this particular example, we're just displaying 3 is just or is less than 5. Okay, we can also test variable. So int a equals 5, int b equals 6. So we could try to evaluate this, or to check the condition or check the relationship between a and b. So we could do it inside our if statement. Is b less than 5, or yeah, b less than a? So we can try to run this, and of course we're not going to get the result that we want because this particular statement evaluates to false. But if it evaluates to true, for example, is b greater than a, then we're gonna get the result that we want, which is of course this is not 3 and 5. It should be b is greater than a. Okay, that's because that's what we're trying to evaluate here, is b greater than a. So there we go, compile. That's not that's a. Okay, so b is greater than a. So we are getting this particular result because the statement b is greater than a evaluates to true. Now we also have the else statement. So else statement is used to specify a block of code to be executed if the condition is false. So in this particular if statement, this uh, statement right here inside the curly braces will be executed if the condition inside this parenthesis is evaluated to true. But what if it is false? So currently there's no display. That's where the else statement comes in. So the else statement will execute all the statements inside if the condition inside the if statement is evaluated to false. So say for example, we can try to um, display b is not greater than a. So let's try to change this. B let's try 4 here. Okay, and then compile our program and then run. So we're getting B is not greater than A. That's because the statement right here evaluates to false, or the result of this particular condition is false. That's why we're getting this output instead of this. Again, this is for true, this is for false. If the condition inside the if statement returns true, then all the statements inside this first open and close curly braces will be executed. Otherwise, we will be getting the statements inside this else uh, block of code. Okay, so that's how the if-else statements works. And now we will try to discuss also the else-if statement. So the else-if statement specify a new condition if the first condition is false. So for example, right after evaluating this, we're getting false. Okay, it will try to go here to execute the statement if the condition is false. What if we want to check also if uh, we want to check if another variable, or what's the relationship of another variable to another variable. So for example, we want to add another statement here, else if. So this will be with another condition. Okay, so if B is less greater than A, we could also try to check here if uh, B greater than for example value 3, then we could say here um, or what we could do is try to assign a time. For example, int time equals 22, and then we can try to check if time is less than 10. So we could say here good morning. If time is less than 20, we could say here um, good day. And otherwise we display good evening. Okay, so that's how the if, else if, and else statement works. So let's try this. So save and then compile our program and then run, and we're getting good evening. That's because our time is set to 22. There you go. So it is not less than 20, it is not less than 10, but if we change this into 14, we will get good day. That's because our time is less than 20, but is greater than 10. So it will try to evaluate time first here. So is 14 less than 10? So that's false because 14 is greater than 10. So it will try to go here, else if, and then try to evaluate is 14 less than 20. So that's true. So it executed this particular statement, system.out.println, and then good day. So that's how the if-else statement works in Java programming language. Again, guys, if you have a question, please let me know in the comment section. We're gonna be happy to help you regarding if you have concerns and if you have um, concepts that you don't really understand and you're confused, then we will try to help you in the comment section below. Now, there's also switch statement. Switch statement. So, switch statement, we can use switch statement to select one of many code blocks to be executed. So the syntax of switch is like this. So we have here the keyword switch and then open, close, parenthesis, and then inside that is the expression or the condition that we will try to evaluate, and then open and close curly braces, and we have here case X and then the code block that we want to execute if the case is X, and then add the break statement. So the break statement is the endpoint terminate the case. So it signifies the end of this particular case X. So the same thing for case Y. If the expression returns Y, then we have to execute this particular code block here, and then the break, which is again the endpoint of this particular case Y. So the switch expression is evaluated once, okay, this particular expression, and then the value of the expression is compared with the values of each case. So the result of the expression right here will be compared to each case here that we have added. So if there's a match, then the associated block of code is executed. So if it will be match for Y, then all the code of code of or block of codes that is inside this particular case will be executed. And then the break and the default keywords are optional, and it will be described later in this particular video tutorial. Now, again, the break is just to signify the endpoint or terminate the case. For example, case X. So, for example, we're going to have an example here. Try to check the number or day number, and then try to display if it is Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, based on that particular number. So we're going to switch day, and then case, if this particular variable contains 1, then we could say system.out.println Monday. Okay, case 2, then it should be Tuesday. Case 3, it should be Wednesday. So case 3 and then add break. Let's try to arrange this. Okay. We can add break right here. And also case 4. If it is 4, then it's Thursday, right? So Thursday, and case 5, Friday. Case 6 is Saturday. Case 7, it's Sunday. Okay, so save, and we can try to run our program. Compile first, and then run. So good day and Thursday. That's because our day here contains value 4, but if we will try to change this into 1, then we're gonna get different result. So compile. So you have to remember, guys, that every time you make changes to your file, you have to compile it and then run the program once again. So we have here Monday. That's because we have 1 here. So if we try to change this to 3, then we're gonna get different result, which is Wednesday, because that's what the switch case statement evaluated, or the value of day matches the case 3, which is Wednesday. Okay, so that's how the case or switch case statement works. And again, the break, it just breaks out of the switch block and terminate this particular switch case. Now the default is it specifies some code to run if there is no case match. So for example, we're just gonna copy and paste this. We could say here no match found. So for example, we have 1 to 7 here. Let's try to add 8 here, or try to change the day into 8, and try to compile again our program and then run. And we are getting no match found. That's because we only have cases 1 to 7 and 8 is not included. So that's why the default code of block or block of code is executed instead of these cases right here. So that's the purpose of default. It will try to execute if there's no matching case found here. Okay, and one of the most important topics included in Java is the loops. So I think it is clear here the concept of if, else, and then the switch case statements. Now we will move on to loops. So loops can execute a block of code as long as a specified condition is true or is reached. Now loops are handy because they save time, reduce errors, and they make code more readable. So the syntax, the first loop that we're going to discuss here is the while loop. So while, and then condition, and then open and close curly braces. So in this particular syntax, the loop will execute if this particular condition returns true every time. Okay, so for example, we have int I equals 0 right here, and then we will try to evaluate if I is less than to 5, then we're gonna output the value of I right here. So I, and then we're going to increment the I by using the I++, or this is the post increment for this particular example. So Again, the purpose of loop is to execute a block of code several times as long as the condition is true. So let's try this. Compile our program first and then execute. So we're getting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's because we started from 0 and it should end on 4 because uh, any number after 4 like 5 is not less than 5. So it terminated the loop, but it executed from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There you go. So again, the loop will execute if the statement, or the loop will try to execute all the statement inside the curly braces if the statement or the expression right here is true. Okay, and this is an example of doing it in while loop. There are other um, case also, or there are other type of loop also. So the second one is the do while. So the syntax of that is this: open and close curly braces, and then the while keyword, and then of course the condition, and then the semicolon. So what the do while will do is try to execute first the statement inside and evaluate the condition after. So for example, um, int x equals to 0, then execute system dot out the print line, and then the value of I, and then x plus plus, and then inside the while condition right here, we're gonna evaluate the value of x, which is x less than, or if x is less than 5. Now we will try to separate this by using a line, and we will try to differentiate the result. So save and compile our program, and we're getting error. That's because we missed the semicolon right here, and then compile and then run our program. So we're getting 5, 5, 5. That's because we used the I here instead of x. So compile our program and run. So what we're getting here is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's do while, and the other one is the while loop. Okay, so that's how the while and do while loop. So the difference is that the while keyword or the while syntax is just like this: while and then condition and then open and close curly braces. While the do while, of course, is the syntax is just like this: do curly braces, and then after that one the while keyword, open close parentheses, and then the expression or the condition. So this will be evaluated, and if it is true, then it will reiterate and execute the statement here inside our do while or do curly braces. Okay, so that's while and uh, do while. Now there are other type, which is for loop. Now when you know exactly how many times you want to loop through a block of code, you can use for loop instead of while loop. So the syntax of for loop is just like this: for, and then for example, int b or a equals 0, int the variable a, is it less than 5, and then a plus plus plus. So the syntax is for and then open close parenthesis, and then statement 1, which is the initialization of variable, and then statement 2, which is the condition, and statement 3, which is increment or decrement. So in our example where we have here the initialization of variable a into 0, and the condition we're trying to test if a is less than 5, and then the statement increment. So we can try to display the value of a right here. Okay, so let's try to run this, and I'll explain later on what's the concept behind using for loop. So this is how it works. Um, let's add a multi-line comment right here. So we have a, and then condition and result. Okay, a plus plus. Okay, so the initial value of our a is 0, right? So the condition will be 0 less than 5, right? So the result of this is true. Okay, so the initial again, the initial value of our a is 0, and after initialization, it will try to check if that particular value is less than or equal to 5 right here, because that's the condition right here. And of course, the result of that is true. Then if it is true, then it execute the statement. So the output is, what's the value? 0. Okay, now it will try to go here in our increment. So a plus plus, it is the same as saying as a plus 1. So the result of that is 1, right? So now the value of our a is 1, and of course it will go here in our condition 1. Is it less than 5? So of course the result of that is true, and then the output of this, because this is true, then the a is 1, right? And then it will go here a plus 1. You can try to do it 1 plus 1 because that's the value of our a, equals 2. Now it will go back here and evaluate, or I mean initialize the value into 2, and then 2 is less than 5, and of course that's true, and then the output is 2, of course, and then 2 plus 1, that's 3, and it will assign the value to a, which is now becomes 3, and 3 is less than 5. The result is true, and then the output is 3, and then now it will try to increment by 1, so 3 plus 1, and it becomes 4, and then the value of our a becomes 4 right here, and then the condition is 4 less than 5, or is 4 less than 5. Of course that will evaluate to true, and then the output is 4, and then that's 4 plus 5, and then that's no, that's not 5, it's 1, and it will become 5. Now the value of our a becomes 5, and then 5 less than 5, and it will evaluate to false, and of course there's no output because the loop will be terminated because 5 is not less than 5. So it will not increment again, and there's no output. So that's why we're getting the output 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So that's how while, do while, and for loop works. And of course, you can do also, you can specify, initialize the value of our a into 5. For example, if you want to do that, you can change this into greater than 1, and then a minus minus, or try to decrement if you want to reverse the output of your loop. So Java C, and then compile our program, and then main. So we're getting result 5, 4, 3, 2. That's the result of our for loop. Okay, so I think that's all about the basic syntax that we are trying to learn here in our um, video tutorial. And actually, there's um, other topics that we could cover also. So, for example, the break and continue statements, and we also have the arrays. And I think that will be for another video tutorial. So I think that's all for this particular video, guys, and thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something from this video. And also, again, if you have questions, please let me know in the comment section below. So thank you, and see you in the next video.